Hi everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Welcome everyone to episode 23 of our Final Fantasy IX series. We've been playing through the whole thing. Our little disclaimer, episode 6 is where it begins. So if you want to just kind of listen through the whole Final Fantasy IX kind of walkthrough, so to speak, that's where you want to go. But as for us right now, so we need to head to, what is it, Madain? I just said
Yeah,
the
I'm
same
not
thing.
really sure how to say it. Madain Sari
Yeah,
would
sorry,
be my
no.
guess.
But yeah, Madain Sari. So it's a very small open world section. There's nothing else here. But we do have one thing, and that is the friendly Yeti. So this one you can find anywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, one interesting thing that I found on here was so at this point, he basically can be found anywhere in the plains and the forests. We'll talk about this later as well, but after you get past a certain storyline boss that's coming up soon, you can also encounter him on the Mist Continent, which I didn't know
Ah,
about.
okay.
So
Yeah, I didn't know that either. If you do encounter him, I was not lucky enough. He will ask for 2 ore, as they usually do. They usually ask for ore, but it will start to kind of
yeah.
increase a little bit here. So 2 ore, but you do get an elixir and 20 AP. So, man,
Ooh,
I tell you, I was
that's
trying
nice.
so hard to get him because I need that AP so bad right
Oh
now.
yeah,
So bad.
yeah. I don't know what the chances are for these ones. Sometimes it can be really hard to encounter.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you.
And I'll be honest too. I mean, those battles aren't easy. It's we got
Oh
the
yeah.
trolls, so they're out there, and we got
Oh
groups of 2
man.
of them. And if
Yeah.
they just go on their counter sprees, it's oof. That can be pretty rough.
Yeah, that's actually why we kind of talked about on the last episode, that attack they have called Solution.
Yeah,
That's why that's so dangerous because if they get Vivi or, Iiko with that, and they're berserked, and then they just consistently get countered.
yeah. As they hit, and then the other ones are like the giant beetles. I don't know what they're called. Oh, I think it's actually isn't it like fire beetle? It's something like that.
Something, yeah. They just sit there
And
and use fire.
yeah, and well, in the regular attacks, they lay it on, man. It's about
Yeah.
200 plus for most of their attacks, and I mean, again,
Yeah.
Ico has like 500 health. The other 2 don't have much. Zidane has a lot, but he's also frontline. Anyways, just
Yeah.
as we mentioned
Well,
last
mhm.
episode, just kind of be careful in some of these fights.
Yeah, and me and Mark were just talking about this too. We're fairly low level in our gameplays,
Yeah,
in our games so far. I mean, I think my characters are all somewhere around level 22, and yours are the same, right?
yeah. I would just
Oh,
at the end of this episode is where I played through, and yeah, it's sitting at 20, and so.
yeah, that's
It's
low
not,
level, man.
yeah, it's not really that far ahead. And anyways, really, if you found the Yeti or if you just got frustrated moving on, you just got to go into Madain Sari. And it's quite an interesting place. It's we'll kind of get into it a little bit here, and we can't reveal too much because
That's right, yeah.
not much is revealed at this moment when we're here. More is revealed at a later moment. Basically, Iiko, as soon as you get in, she says, welcome to my home, pretty much, and this is the village of summoners, and so they're kind of
Yeah.
we're starting to get a little more info here about this whole summoner business.
Yep. Obviously, that raises some questions with Dagger
Yeah,
having summons and things like that. So this is kind of the point in the game where it can get a little bit confusing, I'll say.
it can, but at the same time, some blanks are starting to, slowly be filled in here. The other funny thing about this whole place is we know Aiko had one Moogle that she called Mog, but once you get in here, there's suddenly like 5 other Moogles all of a sudden, and it's kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
what's going on here? How many letters are we gonna get?
Right? And another really funny thing about it is I haven't really looked into this, but they're all named all their names are starting with like M for the most part, right? I mean, you got
Yeah,
Momotos, you got Mocha, you got Morrison,
yeah, that's true. I
Oko.
didn't, yeah, I didn't really notice that before.
It's
Put the
kind of
two
funny.
two. Yeah, it's kind of like the whole deal with them. And it is kind of interesting. The note that you put down that I didn't think about, and I thought that was actually
Yeah.
pretty hilarious, is that out of all of these Moogles, none of them will save for you. It's like, come on, man.
They don't have the save book.
No, they
They
never got it. Yeah, Stiltskin hasn't made it here. You think that Stiltskin? I'm like, come on, he was right there in Path. Why is he not coming and seeing all of his homies here?
That's
anyway,
a good point.
You know,
yeah.
Whatever, Stiltskin. He just wants to stalk us when it's an opportune moment. we have plenty of funny moments at this one, as always. We talked about last time. Eiko just adds so much fire to I guess just the party here, and of course you can tell she kind of has the little girl crush on Zidane, and we know this because the first thing is she takes his hand, sits him down, and I mean I wrote down all the questions. We're not going to go over, but she asked literally like 10 questions. You know, like how you know, where are you from? How old are you? What kind of Mughals do you like? What kind of girls do you like? And it's just it's great stuff.
I love that part though. It's like, what kind of Eidolons do you like? What kind of Mughals do you like? It's like, I don't know, the normal type? Is there different types of Mughals? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you know, the Mughals with the pom-poms. I don't know.
It is really funny too, because she asks all in like it's like one big text box that just continues down. He never even has a chance to answer any of them.
He doesn't, but at the same time, you know, he doesn't really discourage it. We already know Zidane is, and we'll get to this in a little bit too later at Madain Sari, but he's usually generally nice to most people, or at least, you know, courteous and shows some respect. And so he's not really discouraging this, because in fact he's actually almost encouraging it, because he's like, I want to know more about you too. Which does make sense though, because I mean she's a summoner, you know, they're interested about that part, but she's kind of more taking it like, ooh, he likes me.
Yep. Which is why the next thing is she's just like, all right, I'm really gonna impress him by cooking dinner for him.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. And so essentially just kind of fill in some blanks here. You know, you see this place is in ruins. Dagger herself is starting to, she's kind of getting quiet because she's starting to feel like something, you know, it's like something's different here. She's like almost kind of like memories or something. And you go to the next area, it has a fountain. That's where all these questions happen. And then Eiko's gone. As usual, Vivi's gone also. He just went through a whole ordeal at Black Mage Village, so he has a whole lot of things to think about. And now Dagger has a lot of things to think about. So, as usual, you're left with just Zidane, and, you know, now it kind of opens up and you're able to kind of go on your way. Before we do that, though, let's get the bold move, man. Let's do it. All right, bold move. I'm going to go ahead and start us off, man. This one's actually, it's going to hit really close to home because it just happened. And I know we talked about it, and I know that it's almost kind of like kicking a dead horse here, but here's the thing. Final Fantasy IX, it was a very bold move of Vivi to marry Kina. I mean, here's the thing. There was other options. They could have maybe just waited. They could have maybe tried to sneak by the twin dwarvesies. But, you know, he's like, hey, why don't you two get married? Dude, let's reverse this. Let's say someone told Zidane, hey, why don't you two get married with Kina? He'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah, seriously. He's just so, like, good-natured, you know? Yeah. He doesn't take offense to that at all.
No.
Actually, he was so happy.
He was, me too. Yeah, no, but I was just thinking about that. I know we just talked about it, but I was like, dude, that was a bold move, man. It's Kina. Look, it's Kina, and you're marrying her.
I know. It's just gonna be frogs for dinner for the rest.
Yeah, seriously. What you got?
Alright, so this week, taking it to sort of one of the less popular Final Fantasies, but still a good one, Final Fantasy 13.
Okay.
So it was definitely a bold move when Snow at Lake Brusha, he decided to stay behind. Like, while the rest of the gang moved on, he decided to stay with Crystallized Sarah and try to, like, dig her out
that's right.
a crystal or something like that. But how is he gonna do that? I mean, dude, she's crystal.
And he has a piece of ice. He's digging with, like, an icicle.
It's like an ice pick or something like that, but sitting there just chipping away forever.
Sarah!
Yeah, bold move. I know. He just Snow and Sarah, I'm telling you, that game.
It's something else, but that was a pretty bold move. I mean, especially at the beginning, you know, and all the things going on. He's like, no, I'm gonna sit here and dig her out, and then of course we already know what happens. Didn't work, Snow. Didn't work.
Nope. Nope, he just sits there forever, just chipping away at some solid. I mean, how are you gonna chip crystal, anyways? I don't.
With ice again, yeah. Oh, nuts. This icicle broke. Oh, let me just get a next one. All right.
I could just punch it.
Yeah, well, yeah, why didn't he just do that? But, you know, heroes meet their match every once in a while. And I guess that's Crystal, so.
He didn't need a plan.
But all right, those are our bold moves, and let's continue and, I don't know, see what's for dinner, I guess. So something I did forget to say before we went to bold move was, if you want, go ahead and make a fresh save before entering in. There are ATEs here. It is not really particularly hard to get them all, and it's not really easy to mess it up. But just in case, you know, because you will actually, for the first time, you actually have interactive ATEs here. And you just kind of want to make sure you get the right order of some things, just to, I don't know, maximize the enjoyability, if that's you know, even a word. But all right, we left off with your have free roam capabilities now with Zidane. ATE pops up. You only have one. It's just Vivi's feelings.
He's dealing with the whole concept of a lifespan and death. And what does it mean to die? What does it mean to live? All of these different things. It's kind of interesting with Vivi, you know, because he didn't think about any of this stuff. Yeah. He didn't even really know who he is, really. So
or what he is now.
Right, yeah. He's just figuring all of this stuff out for the first time. And this, it's so interesting. This goes all the way back to Disc 1 at Dali, the first time he sees other black mages. And it's just such an interesting progression with Vivi.
It is, and I mean, we cannot forget that, you know, based on the game, it says he's 9, and I mean, that's a hard concept for anything at 9 to understand, you know, such a young age, life and death, it's just something that doesn't really register, and then take, you know, all of his just being a black mage and things, and so he's just sitting there, working through it. Something you can do here is there is a, what is it? It's Libra Stelazio, right? That's at the fountain.
Right by the fountain. And then there's another little treasure chest kind of hidden behind the bench that Dagger is or was sitting on at that same little circle with the fountain. That contains a tent. So that can be pretty nice.
Absolutely. And I say just go ahead and go left. That's where Vivi is. That's where you want to go. You'll go ahead and go kind of just a cutscene, you know, basically they're talking, Zidane's trying to help him out with his thoughts. And then after they speak, another ATE will pop up, and that's going to be Dagger's feelings now. Kind of more or less the same thing, you know, everyone's getting all these hard-hitting things right now, you know, and so she's just working through some of the things about, like, kind of what she's feeling here and why she's feeling it. You can go into the door right there. That's where Eiko went into. But a Moogle stops you and says, you know, like, Kubo, you know, Lady Eiko is what they call her, is fixing dinner and it's not ready. They want to take you to an Eidolon wall, right?
So...
Or actually, I skipped something. I skipped something. Okay, My bad.
No, it's okay. So the first time, a Moogle stops you, and then that's all that happens there. And then you basically have no choice but to go back to the fountain.
Yes.
And you get another AT at that point, which is now Eiko's feelings.
Everybody's
feeling some type of way.
Yes. Yes, so that's what it is. I messed that up. Is you can go in there and the Moogle will stop you, and yes, you do have to just go back to the fountain. Eiko's feelings, Luckily, this one's much more lighthearted. Not saying Vivi and Dagger are downers or anything, downers, but you know, Eiko is being Eiko, and here is you're given some choices. So she's wanting to make some rock-fisted stew, is what it's called. Which can we just acknowledge this? What the heck does rock-fisted potatoes? What does that even mean? A rock-fisted?
I don't know, and I love how she has like a little song that goes along with it. It's like, it's like lots of nuts or something.
Lots of nuts. Yeah, we don't know the tone of that. I do have screenshots. We will be posting that because it is hysterical.
Oh man!
But here's the deal: she wants the Moogles to kind of help her out. They give her a really hard time about how she's been messing up some cooking and stuff.
I think one of them says like, the last time your cooking was so bad, my pom pom almost fell off.
Yes. Yes. You're given some choices, as I said. So kind of the best. There's no wrong way here. There's nothing that you can mess up, so to speak. There's, you're not going to miss out on any items. You're not going to miss out on any ATEs. It's basically just to kind of get the, I guess, best ending or best, ideal, I guess in the end. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but.
Well, no, I know what you mean, because I don't think you can really mess up your selection, but I guess the ideal selection here would be to choose Momotos to
Yes.
fish. And I'm not really sure how you would know this either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Anyways, Mocha, tell him to go dig up some taters.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. She's gonna boil, mash them, and stick them in the rock-fisted stew. And then, well, yeah, and then there's the third one. I mean, it's the Chimomo. I don't know, but that's just the last one that will help Eiko. You don't really select that one, but for the ideal situation, as we said, Momo toast fishing, Mocha taters, and then Chimomo will help Eiko. So that's kind of it. That was Eiko's feeling. So all that was still within that one ATE. So now go ahead. This is going back to what I messed up saying. Go back to the kitchen, and that's when Morrison is like, "Hey, yo, let's go to the Eidolon Wall." Just basically there's only one other way you can go, which is to the right of the fountain, and there's like an exchange between two Muggles. Now, I want to ask you, man, I don't know if you know this or if you've done it before. I noticed that when Morrison goes, we know that, like Moko is there, like kind of guarding. He passed by, and I actually had a really quick exclamation point. I wasn't expecting it, and so I didn't hit it, but I wonder if you can actually talk to him as he's running past you.
I don't know that either. I'll have to try that on my game. I know I got a save right before that, so
yeah, test it out.
that's interesting. Yeah, it's probably like real quick though. You got to be on.
Oh yeah, I mean, he moves fast, and it just went by me, but I just noticed that there was an exclamation point as he's walking. So you go and you gotta just talk to Morrison, and it's kind of interesting because you tell Morrison that, hey, Dagger can summon too, and Morrison's like, whoa, really? That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But you gotta go ahead and you gotta go get Dagger, which she's kind of back at the beginning now. It went to kind of a little cutscene. We know she's there. But along the way, we got Moko that's at the fountain now, and you can talk to him, and it's not really a pleasant exchange, is it?
No, he's pretty unhappy because he's the one who's been guarding the summoner wall.
Yeah.
And that's been his duty this entire time. And also, Zidane asks what happened to all the other summoners, and he's just not spilling the beans.
No, he's just like, I can't tell you that, and so
Yeah.
like, oh,
So
okay, man.
We'll find out.
Yes.
So that's a very important piece of the puzzle of the story.
Yes. I think it's after you get Dagger, so you gotta go back. He's like, yo, let me show you something. On the way back to the wall is when the next ATE will open up, and it's called Eiko's Kitchen. It's just, I mean, again, it's just hysterical things, she's going along. But this next kind of thing is you gotta collect water for the stew. And you're asked about how many people to account for. And they kind of rattle off the list. They say, well, let's see, there's, all of us in the party, and then it names all the Muggles. So you can count it, but you don't want to do just 10. That's how many there is. There's 10, but you don't want to just do 10. You want to select 11. So make sure you select 11. Let's decline Eiko's secret ingredient that she is thinking about, adding, which is what?
She goes like, should I put in one of those oglops I found on the mountain path? And you get a really funny scene when they're eating if you decide to put that oglop in there. But yeah, just probably not a good idea, as it be like putting cockroaches in your stew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you're planning on going back and inviting Brian Rootrunner over. If not, let's leave the oglops out.
Yeah.
It just keeps progressing. It's funny. Mamatos is fishing, and it's like, whoa, Kupo, this is a big one. And your last option is you can either just keep cooking, or you can have Chimomo take over and you go help with the fishing. That's what you want to do. So go let Chimomo cook and go lend a hand to Mamatos. And it's not really a fish.
Yeah, right. And one thing I will say too, if you say no to this, I'm pretty sure that you just don't get this scene or something like that.
That would make sense.
Yeah, because I don't think I've ever done that, but I've heard that if you just say no, then Chimomo can't get it and it gets away or something. But yeah, it ends up being, and you will recognize right off the bat, Kina.
Yeah, and it's like
So
as the screen is fading out, she just flies up
flies out of the
across the
water.
top. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay. Well, she was in the river for some reason.
yeah,
Okay. And so it goes back, you go into the wall, and again, it's kind of just some thought process here, a little bit more
mhm,
filling in about, this Eidolon wall that just has all of the summons essentially just kind of
yeah,
drawn on them. And so
right.
Dagger's sitting there and she recognizes some, but she wants to kind of just sit there and, be around it. And you learn a little bit more from Morrison about, Iiko goes there and burns incense and all these other things. And so it seems
Mhm.
like it's a very sacred place from what we've gathered, so far, but we still don't know
Yeah.
too much else about it.
Yeah, but it is kind of cool because you can like walk around and see all of the summons. You've got like Ifrit and Shiva and
Yeah.
Atomos and Bahamut and all of those guys drawn on the walls. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And well, go ahead and leave. It's the only thing you can do. It's pretty linear here. You kind of just do all you can in one area and you got to pop out. And so if you just kind of head back towards the fountain area, I forget what screen opens up, but the last ATE becomes available, and that's Aiko's Kitchen 2. Once again, they're cooking, but it's hilarious because it's Kina there, and well, I forget exactly. I took a screenshot because it was hysterical, but Eiko kind of goes in like a fighting stance. She's like white hair, white clothes, whatever. You're Kuja, and stuff.
Yeah, it's like pale face, something something. It's like you're Kuja, and yeah, like you said, I love her little stance. So she's kind of got like she's looking all pissed off and like ready to
Yeah,
go.
she's kind of
She's like,
bouncing
all
in
right,
place.
yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah,
Kuja.
it's like,
But
okay, yeah, you're gonna
basically,
go smack her with your flute. Let's be real.
right. But anyways, and then it's like, no, we're going after Kuja. I Kina.
Yeah, Aikina. And then yeah, and so Aiko recognizes her as the one that wants to eat Mog. But, of course, Kina's there in the kitchen and smelling food, so naturally she goes right over to the kitchen and is making
Yeah.
observations and things. And this is what you kind of get really good things from her if you've selected all the kind of the right things up to this point. And she's like, you're cooking for 11, but your fire will only make 9 servings.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
and
So
she's like, it's I'll tell you a secret. It's good to make more than enough, is essentially what she says.
yeah, I love that. And it's so funny how the way this goes too is basically you can't select the right thing. In other words, like even if you put enough water in there for 13 people, Keena's either gonna say that you didn't fill enough water or you don't have enough heat to boil
Yeah.
the water. So either way, it's like you wouldn't have been done or wouldn't have been able to do it. But then, yeah, what you were saying as well, she says something funny like, maybe your guests are extra hungry.
Yeah, maybe unexpected guest.
Yeah,
She well,
so
it what was something else. I mean, there's so many things here. I'm trying to remember all of them,
it
but
is
yeah, Aiko's
super
like, you can
funny.
cook. She's like, it is my destiny to be gourmand. Essentially, though, like Alex has said, if the heat will be not enough, that's not a bad thing. That's just that is how it
That's
is,
just
no
part
matter
of the
what.
story.
And
Yeah.
she is basically like, we can fix this. I know Black Mage, and obviously we know it's a reference to Vivi, who's standing right there. Vivi gets roped up into it. Poor Vivi, always kind of, but he'll say, okay, I'm sure is what he'll be. Uh,
Yeah.
but
This is like the first time he's had to use his black magic other than, outside of battle since the ice cavern.
yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true. But before we go ahead and feast down and finish off Madain Sari, let's do our seed trivia. So Alex is trying to be kingly here by just winning every single one. But he is on his rank 19 seed trivia
Ooh,
quiz here.
man, it's gonna get
And
tough. I can tell.
I put some thought into this one this time. So
Yeah.
here we go, man. Our first question is going to be in Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay.
And during the Forest Owl mission, where you're trying to kidnap, what's his name? Vinzer Delling, right? Or something like
Mr.
that?
Delling, yeah.
So during that mission, you have 8 minutes to complete the, I don't know, the passwords or codes or whatever.
Ooh, false.
Our next question is Final Fantasy XII. The second battle with Gilgamesh He will use Monarch Sword after being below 50% health.
Yeah, these.
And to kind of clarify that a little
notch.
bit more, like that is the only kind of like stipulation for using that is under 50% health.
Oh man, I haven't fought Gilgamesh in such a long time, but I'll say true.
All right, man. So next one's in Final Fantasy VII, and kind of keep in mind this is not really just confined to 7. It's just the characters from that. So Red is the only quadrupedal in the whole Final Fantasy series.
Oh man, like playable character or just overall?
Yeah, we'll say playable character.
Okay. True.
All right, and just to clarify, in case some people don't know what that means, it's got 4 legs, right? That's what it is.
Pretty much.
All right, in Final Fantasy X, when you're at the Xanarkin Trials, there are initially, because I know you can return, but there are initially 6 puzzles in order to like fight that rune boss or whatever.
Killing me with the specifics. Dang. 6 trials? Yeah, I think that's true.
Final Fantasy IX. We've been talking about it, and we loved how many comments were on this post as well.
Yeah.
But the fairy flute, the abilities on the fairy flute are Asuna, Haste, and Float.
False.
All right, Final Fantasy X2. I think I might have you on this one, man. I was thinking, what hasn't he actually done in this? Gunner's Gauntlet. Here we go.
Oh no.
You will get the diamond gloves if you have a score of 1400 or at least 1400 at level 7.
True.
Our last one's in Final Fantasy 13. Here it is. The safe subversion paradigm is 2 saboteurs and 1 medic.
I'm really agonizing over, is it medic or is it sentinel? 'Cause I remember using that one, but I think I'm gonna say true on that.
All right, man.
True.
Let's do some recap. So, if you are on the Forest Owls mission, you said false. You said false. For 8 minutes. It's not 8 minutes. It is 5 minutes, which even then seems like not a lot. But I mean, you just blow through it so easy. All right, Final Fantasy 12. Gilgamesh, right, for the second battle. Monarch Sword. You said true. This is false. He only uses. Well, it's got a couple things. He will only use Monarch Sword once he's below 20% health, but after he does his perfect defense or whatever is the paling, the magical paling. Once that ends, he will start using the Monarch Sword. And I mean, it's crazy, man. How it's kind of like the triggers for it. It's after every 12 actions, which with him it's
weird.
Incredibly often, which is why he'll just start mowing down people with Monarch Sword. Final Fantasy VII. Red is the only quadrupedal within the Final Fantasy series. Kind of interesting, isn't it? I looked that up and I was like, there are no 4-legged furry friends other than Red that you can use.
That's why Red is such a cool character.
Yep. So you said true, you got that one. Final Fantasy X. So the first time you are at Xanarkin Trials, you said true. It is false. There are only 4 puzzles the first time.
Oh.
And then you go back, and then there's I don't know, 503 or something like that. But
yeah, well, I was thinking 6 because I know you push in all the pedestals, and then you get a puzzle for each one. So that's probably what I was thinking.
Yep, I thought that too. I was like, All right, but yep. So there's 4. You got false. You've missed 2, man. You can only afford 1 more. Let's see. The fairy flutes. I didn't know how well you knew it, but you said false, and it is false. It's Asuna, Haste, and it's not Float, it's Regen.
Yep.
Alright, our next one was the X2 Gunner's Gauntlet. You said true, it is true! Darn it, man, Are diamond gloves needed? How did you know this?
Oh, you will not get me on an X2 question, man. I am the master.
You're the master. Spent 2,000 hours, you know.
Oh, man.
Alright.
3 new game plus.
Yeah, no, seriously, right? Alright, Final Fantasy 13, the safe subversion paradigm. 2 sabs, 1 med. You said true. And it is true, you got it, man.
Yes.
So, You got rank
Yes.
19. I almost got you on
Oh
some of these. I
man,
got you on two,
dude,
but
those are definitely getting. When you ask like specific number questions, it
yeah.
gets really tough to. I
It
mean,
it is
stuff
pretty
like that,
tough.
man.
Yeah. It well see the problem I've had in the past is sometimes it's too tough. I'll say like 6 minutes instead of 5, and it's like, come on,
Right.
And so I'm trying to make it a little more different than that. But
But
regardless,
yeah.
man, rank 19 achieved.
Yes.
All right, that is RC trivia. Let's finish off Madain Sari. So essentially all that's left at this point is to go ahead, head back to the kitchen, and let's eat. And, if you did
Yeah.
everything at this point, this is kind of the only differences for your decisions with these ATEs is just how the reaction of everyone, particularly Zidane, is with dinner. And if you got all the stuff right, you did all that, he walks in and he's like, whoa, this looks amazing, and
Yeah.
then they're
He's in
eating,
like
and
a
it's like, this
tacky
is
stance.
fantastic, you should open a restaurant. It's great
If you
stuff.
put the oglop, if you put the oglop in there,
Yeah.
I think he says that it tastes a little funny or something like that.
Which I'm sure it
So,
would. This whole scene, though, is just ripe with Eiko's fantastic phrases. It really
yeah.
is. Something else we kind of haven't hit on throughout this is she's been kind of dropping all these things like Zidane and Dagger, blah, blah, blah. Dagger hasn't got a clue. I can get in between them, and all this because
Yeah.
she's trying to get close to Zidane. And she's like, wouldn't it be nice if I cooked for you every day? I mean, it's just like I said, there are so many that it's really hard to just pick out one. But there is one particularly that is hysterical. And now it's less impressive once you learn what it's from. But I got a screenshot here, and let me read it to you. She said, it's Eiko. She says, "You know why I'm here in this village? It was to meet you, Zidane, my beautiful shooting star."
Yep. And what's so funny about that
Yeah.
part too is Dagger was just like, wait a minute. That was a line from Lord Avon's Wishing Upon a Star or something like that.
Yeah,
Some
it's
play
one
that
of
was
one of the
done way
plays.
back, right? And they're like, how the heck does she know of that? She's been living out here.
Yeah. Well, and Aiko's like, darn it, how did you know
Yeah, it
that?
didn't work.
But up to that point, just reading that, you're just like, whoa, man. I need a
Yeah.
gosh, I know I'm already married, but if I go back in time, that's how I would have got my wife right there, I've been here
It's a
because
good
you're my
line.
shooting star.
One hitter quitter.
Yeah. It's great stuff. I mean, like we said, we were just gonna Aiko's my favorite character, man. She is.
Yeah.
But essentially, everyone finishes up. One other thing I liked is when Vivi's giving credit, I just love his response. He.
Yeah, I know. He's just like, oh man, it's so funny.
It
I
is.
also love too when like what you said, it's like, see what a great cook I am, Zidane?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to eat my food every single day? And
Every
he's
day.
just like maybe. So tell me more about the Eidolon Wall, and she gets all upset about
Yeah.
that. She's like, what do you mean maybe?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I took a couple clips because, yeah, when she says that, she's like rubbing her foot into the ground, looking down, like all bashful. And then he says
Yeah.
maybe, and she goes into her fighting pose again. What do you mean maybe? As she's bouncing up and down.
It's
Oh,
so funny
gosh.
because she's trying to do one thing, and then all really Zidane's trying to do is find out more about the Eidolons and the Summoner
Yeah.
tribe and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Has
So
no idea.
she does ask Zidane to help clean up though, and there's a couple treasures there. I think it's a phoenix pinion, and I don't know. It's something.
An ether, I think, or something.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
It's not great stuff, but go ahead and pick them up in the treasures there. If you go into the kitchen without the pot, you can still talk to everyone, but you can't progress it. So you got to go back to, the table, make sure you get the pot. Once you bring it to her, that is now when you can go and get the Kerman coffee. So figure that out. So if you just go over
right.
into the kitchen without the pot, it's not there. So make sure you get the pot going. But
I didn't know that.
yeah, but there's some coffee. So we got our second coffee right because the first one was mocha coffee.
Yeah, and just a reminder to everybody, so this is all part of and this goes way back,
Yeah.
back to Dolly, the observation tower where we had Morid, right?
Yes.
And we said that we'd go and collect these different types of coffees from around the world in exchange for the Prima Vista model.
Yep.
So this is the
I
second.
think it's the second one.
Yeah, I think it's the second coffee you can get. So we've got mocha, Herman, and the third one is later on.
Yep, we'll get to it, but it's kind of it's basically like at the bench, I guess. It's right there.
Yeah.
You can talk to Kina, and she's just like, well, first if you wanted, you could talk to Momotos, and she's like, she's making me fish nonstop and just like keep fishing over and over again. And Kina's like, Zidane, I made great discovery. Fish here are different than on this continent.
Kina the biologist now.
Yeah, right.
She's mapping different species of fish.
Yeah. Well, seriously, I mean, this is probably some nice
Funny.
freshwater fish without mist. It's probably delicious.
Yeah, seriously though.
Other than that, I don't think there's too much. There is a funny scene. We won't go into too much because I mean we were just talking about these funny scenes nonstop. So in order to kind of just get a move on here, I got screens. It's probably one of I'd say another most iconic, just funny scene is when Zidane and Vivi are talking at night, and
Yeah.
they just. Zidane lets Vivi know a little secret about how to just, relax, is letting your business happen out in the air. And so it's just tinkle, 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 right? We all know
Tinkle.
that.
Yeah.
It's even better that Aiko's, listening and eavesdropping, and she's like, oh, runs away.
And when she finds out, she's just like, heck? And then she just
runs, which is hilarious because where does she run to? She runs closer to it, you know what I mean? Like, so, anyways, we won't go into that.
Zidane's just like, this is an old tradition between male friends.
Yeah, between male friends.
Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
Tinkle, tinkle. At this point, there's not much. Well, there literally isn't anything else you could do. It just keeps progressing. You gotta go ahead and if you walk out of the kitchen, stay the night. That's what happened. You get that scene, and now you're about to set off. Zidane, he basically wants Eiko to go ahead and open up Iifa Tree or Iifa Tree. It's sealed. We didn't say that yet. It's sealed by the magic summoners because there was like a summon that went wrong or something. So they sealed it in the Iifa Tree. And so she comes with you to help you out.
And she was kind of just praying about it and just like, oh, I don't know, what should I do? Should I go with them? Should I help them out with this? Because she's pretty resistant at first. She's like, no, the Iifa Tree is sacred. We're not going to let you in there. Nobody can go in there. That kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah, she decides that she's having a good time. She's got some new friends, and she's just like, all right, I'm going to go with you. And so you head off towards Iifa Tree.
Yep. She also said, like, Grandpa, I don't want to be alone anymore, kind of a deal. And that's the kind of motivating factor here. And so off you go. You're forced out in your open world. But if you do want to go right back in to Madain Sari, Morrison will be right there. He has a shop. And it's pretty funny. He's like, I hate to admit this, but we need some capital, Kupo. I'm going to have to make you pay for these items.
The place is literally falling apart. I think you guys could use some money.
They got to do some repairs.
They're all the same kind of items, same prices.
Yep.
You get some not accessories. You got some equipment that you can buy. And one other thing that I kind of forgot about that you put down is you can buy the pinwheel at this point.
Yeah, you can buy pinwheels, which I mean, you know what the heck they are. It's kind of
who can use that?
Yeah, I mean they're only 200, so it's like if you want to buy a couple, go ahead. But it's kind of if you're playing for the first time, you see these new items. Like first time was poison knuckles, and you're like, what the heck? And they're still here. You can buy them, but now it's a pinwheel, and you don't really know what the use is. But kind of like Alex said, I mean, there's nothing new other than that, and other than just the addition of like Golem Flute and like Eiko's kind of stuff. But just kind of, if you don't have additional, maybe, accessories or whatever for Eiko, like for instance, for me, I bought another Lamia's Tiara because I only had 2.
Yeah.
Go ahead and snag them. But other than that, you gotta just kind of keep going where we need to get to the tree. Yep. And so you just need to head back to Mountain Path, kind of just venture. You may have actually went to this other open world on accident the first time. If you kind of just backtrack a couple screens through the vines, you got to just go north.
And just go straight up.
Yeah, it's real quick. It's right there. And now you're on to, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this. Puale Plains, I guess?
It's a tough one. Puale Plains.
Puale Plains.
And one cool thing that you can do here, if you've been doing the friendly monster, because I think they're all, it's like a sequence. So if you encountered the friendly ladybug, then you got friendly yeti, etc. Now you got another one, and this is where things really start to pick up in terms of the rewards and the AP.
Yeah.
So if you go to the forest, to the left, like kind of hugging the mountains
Yep.
of the mountain path, you can encounter a nymph, a friendly nymph there, and she just asks for 3 ores, which is again really easy. You should have plenty of ores if you've been stealing and all that kind of stuff. But for this, you get a crazy reward. You get an emerald, which is pretty nice. This might be your second one if you picked up the one by Clara,
Yep.
and you get 30 AP.
30 AP.
Man.
Yeah. Which, kind of going back to what you said, and I didn't want to bring anything up to this point, it is a sequence. So actually, this is why I never did encounter the Yeti. I think I missed one because as you do give these friendly encounter monsters the ores or whatever they ask, they always will say hi to such and such for me. That's what unlocks, I believe, right? I think this is how that's what unlocks the ability to get the next one. And so if you're not getting these, or if you missed one like me, it kind of sucks because, dude, I mean, seriously, out of this course of, in game, this is probably about maybe 30, 40 minutes. Dude, you could have gotten 50 AP from 2 friendly encounters. That's insane, and it's really, really needed right now.
Yeah, but it is quite a sequence because if you think all the way back, we had the friendly Mew, then you've got friendly Ghost, then you've got the friendly Ladybug, and the Yeti, and then now the Nymph. So, it's pretty tough to get all of them, but the rewards are so good, especially if you're not wanting to fight a whole heck of a lot of battles to master some of these skills. The AP is just awesome. You get no experience too, which is either a good or a bad thing, but it's all about the AP.
Yeah, AP. But at this point, I mean, again, you can go around, fight stuff if you want. There's some goblins, some other stuff, kind of just the usual boss, or not bosses, but mobs here. And so you're just left. You got to go to the tree, and that's where we're gonna leave it because the story, man. We're gonna it's gonna like go from real slow to real intense here, really quick, and so. We're going to leave that for the next episode. And so we thank you all for hanging out with us on this episode and just, supporting us, listening. We appreciate it, guys. We're really loving all the comments on social media. It's been a ton of fun having these conversations and just seeing what you all do in some of these situations, on bosses. And it's just, it's really fun to just talk Final Fantasy with people.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that'll do it. I'm Mark.
I'm Alex.
And this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.